As usual, there are a lot of comings and goings in the media this year, but by far the most drama was in the departures. From local to national, many marquee names took an exit stage left. Listening to Jay Leno say goodbye was painful, yet so genuine.
Secondly, this has been the greatest 22 years of my life.
Emotionally acknowledging the departure was not his idea, Jay Leno graciously signed off from The Tonight Show.
And I'm really excited for Jimmy Fallon.
And ratings have been up for Fallon. Not so for Late Show host David Letterman, but at least he's leaving on his own terms next May.
We'll meet again.
Also making a dramatic right exit, Comedy Central's conservative commentator Stephen Colbert, soon to return as himself in Letterman's spot. Among the "it wasn't my idea to leave," NBC's David Gregory.
On this holiday morning, we wanted to get the latest.
Gregory couldn't get past the shadow of Tim Russert. Still, his dismissal played out in a cruel and clumsy manner, with network executives denying rumors right up until the last minute. Speaking of cruel and clumsy,
sure, losing a job you love hurts.
New York Times executive editor Jill Abramson was broomed out of the top spot after less than 3 years, with claims she had lost the confidence of her masthead colleagues. Maybe, but complaints about her brusque manner raised questions about a double standard for male editors. In the more tactful department, Channel 5 arranged a sweet and sincere send-off for longtime midday news anchor and consumer reporter Susan Warnick.
It's an incredible honor that you have trusted me, and I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Also getting a sweet, albeit somewhat sappy send-off, ABC's Diane Sawyer.
You are the captain here. They know that you have led us. You have reminded us every night that it's about the viewers at home.
Viewers who are now tuning to David Muir in bigger numbers. Saving the biggest for last, ABC News media maven Barbara Walters, who made a dramatic exit after more than 50 years on TV.
I've had the most blessed career, and I never expected it.
From the Today Show to an evening network news anchor slot to ABC's It Woman, Barbara Walters was given an A-list send-off on The View.
I hope I have the sense to realize how good my life is and not just think of how good my life was.
Meanwhile, the 9 Lives Walters was back with her annual list of the 10 most fascinating people. She should have made herself one of them. She is incredibly classy, and she's never really going to depart from the airwaves, and I think she's done it in a really good way. She'll come back and do that 10 most fascinating, and she really is one of them. She should have made that. That could have been a clever sort of twist, have somebody interview her. But you go back, and there's never any good way to fire people, but these denials about things happening that are so big in the rumor mills. The New York Times one did not make the new rumor mill, but for instance, the David Gregory thing, rumored for months, ruined his vacation. He finally came flying back from the Cape or whatever he was, and showed up on his own set. Somebody was supposed to be filling in. He knew it was just a matter of weeks before they were going to dump him. And they didn't. Oh, rumors of his demise are ludicrous. Was the word they used.
It's like, why are these things handled so badly?
I don't know.
I mean, the Jill Abramson firing came like a shot out of the blue. Nobody saw it coming. But behind the scenes, we soon learned that was handled horribly. And we were just talking about the New Republic. That was all handled horribly. I mean, these things can be handled with more grace and dignity, I would think. And I agree about Barbara Walters. Of all the people who are departing in that piece, she's really the giant.
Yes.
And that is the passing of an era much more than a lot of these other folks.
All right, I got to disagree with you right there because of this group of people, this group of people exiting. The only one who I would personally label a giant in terms of me and my sensibility is Letterman. I mean, I think for maybe it's men my age right now, early 40s. Now I don't stay up past 10 o'clock.
Next year.
But I'm just saying he did well. He's on the way out. We saw his picture. He, I think, played a huge role in forming sort of the sensibility for a certain generation of people when it comes to humor, when it comes to generalized world outlook, when it comes to maybe irony to a fault, saturating everything you do. and say, I just think he was really, really culturally important.
Sleeping with his intern. I've never been able to watch the show since.
He was great in the 80s.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's interesting that
you're too old. You're too old.
That he managed to survive that. That was really amazing.
I know.
That was Letterman. I want to say a note about David Gregory. You know, I thought it was handled horribly. I also thought he was horrible in the role.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't think it had to do with anything with Tim Russell's shadow. He was just the wrong guy. And I say that having really supported him as a reporter. He was excellent. He was really good. And then they just, I don't know I don't know if they didn't give him the right support. I don't know what it was. He just didn't have the thing.
Is he at CNN now? What happened? I thought somebody was going to pick him up.
He's going to do some part-time work
at
or
CNN?
something. Yes, or and a couple other places I heard as well. And Chuck Todd, interestingly enough, who knew? You know, he's sort of holding down the fort. And they've made the show different, which is what they should have done from the beginning. So, you know, some of these exits are part and parcel of how bad management, not only while you're there, but on the way out.
David Gregory was their White House correspondent.
Yes.
They could have put him back in a role similar to that, or made him, you know, one of those.
Or they could have shut up and not put all his business in the street while they figured it out.
They had to move him off the network.
I know. It was terrible.
Well, apparently they couldn't stand the guy in more than one way, as best I can tell. As an outsider, I don't have any inside info, but I think, you know, Grandpa Keller sees this as a teachable moment for all the youngsters in the audience, okay? And that is, first of all, you reap what you sow. If you're a jerk on the way up, guess who's waiting for you on the way down? And the other thing is that sooner or later, all good things come to an end. For some people, sooner. For others, it's later. But that's perhaps a humbling thought to keep in mind when you're riding high.
All right. Well, I guess you said
that's the conversation stopper.
Yeah. What do I say now?
John, Mr. Gregory on line 2.
The most dramatic change was the flipping between Barbara Walters and David Muir.
Yes.
Because not only did they
Diane Sawyer.
What did I say? Diane Sawyer and David Muir. They have completely changed the tone and tenor of their website, everything. They have, I mean, I'm going to just flat out say it, they have dumbed down that news case. I didn't like Diane's Sacred approach. I always liked her, and she was very bright, and she was fun to work with. I didn't like her on-air, you know, kind of presence or read. Beautiful on-air, but I didn't like the way but what they do now, you know, it just goes from one 15-second piece of video or 10-second piece of video to the next.
And very successfully so far, as far as the ratings go. Isn't that interesting?
Geez, and I watched it once with David Muir, and it looked like a smaller market local TV
No, that's what it is, because that's what they do. They gather video from all over the country of you know, car crashes and fires and whatever the most dramatic you know, animal things, animal rescues.
It's kind of an extension of what they did with Good Morning America, also very successfully in the ratings. So they seem to have found a formula that works for them.
I think it wears on you after a while, though. I'm all CBS now. I just cannot take it. Yeah, I really can't. And I'm a morning TV watcher. And it's just too much.
All right, so the classiest departure, though, I think was probably Susan Warnock from Channel 5. They did it right. You know, they did the whole thing right. You know, made it really her day. They had like a whole bunch of parties for her. You know, they had everybody, and the whole station was there gathered on the set at the end. It was, you know, after, I think she was 30-something years, I'm not sure exactly.
Again, Grandpa reiterates, you reap what you sow.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I actually thought that Jay Leno's
that was
saying
beautiful.
up front, you know, hey, not my idea, but I will not be the jerk to the next guy because that didn't have anything to do with me. These are decisions made outside of both of us, and you know, acknowledging that Jimmy Fallon, I think, has done a really, really good job.
You know, I agree that Leno's exit was very commendably handled. Jimmy Fallon isn't a talk show host. He's a stand-up comedian doing his shtick every night. I don't think he likes to listen to his guests. He doesn't really. But I mean, you want someone in that role, or I do, who's going to, you know, get insight, get a person they're talking with to open
Jay
up.
Leno wasn't a talk show host. He was a stand-up comic.
Right. I wasn't a Leno fan. I wasn't a Leno fan.
Not necessarily.
But I think Fallon takes it to another level. And
there's always next year, you guys.
Okay.
John Keller, Adam Riley, Hallie Crossley, Dan Kennedy. See you next year.
Happy New Year.
See you.